Am I the butthole for telling my husband that if brother-in-law is in the delivery room that he can't go? Okay, so this is an issue that I can't deal with. I 28 am 6 months pregnant. Me and my husband have been discussing who can be in the delivery room. I told him my mother was going to go obviously, and he said he would want his mother to be there. I would be fine that, but the hospital will only let 2 people in. I told him if she went he won't be able to go. He said he was expecting me to get rid of my mother and let him go, but I told him that wasn't happening. We're now in an argument, and he said he's going to go to his friend's house. It's been 2 days, and he still hasn't returned. He isn't answering my calls either. Now I don't know where he is. Am I the butthole? Minor edit, I can see you guys' comments about irresponsible he is, so I will change the locks. I'm texting he shouldn't bother coming back and am highly thinking about getting an attorney. I will update you guys if something big happens. Not the butthole. Absolutely not the butthole. He wants you to bump your mother out of a major procedure for you so that he and his mother can be there? Really? You get the last say on this. You should have the people who will support you there, because you being supported makes childbirth easier and creates better outcomes for you and your baby. If that means your mother is there, that's good for everyone. The fact that your husband doesn't understand that, to the fact that he'd leave his pregnant wife to sleep at a friend's and not answer her calls, tells me he has no clue what childbirth is about. This sub gives me anxiety with the amount of people that procreate with these self-absorbed and oftentimes lazy significant others. There is no way that there weren't major red flags waving and screaming at them, and yet here they are in these situations. Not the butthole. When you're looking through rose-colored glasses, red flags just look like flags. Edited to add, this quote is from BoJack Horseman? I don't know if the full title is simply BoJack or BoJack Horseman. And to be honest, our society, at least in the US, through TV shows / movies / etc. really teaches women to lower their standards. I barely dated as a teen or in college because I didn't want to end up with just anyone. I wanted to wait around for a guy that I actually liked. And my friends and family frequently told me that I needed to lower my standards or I would end up alone. And honestly, I was fine with that. Better alone than unhappily married. But there is always so much pressure not to be too picky or just give that one guy a chance or another chance. Anyway, I think that is why so many of these types of posts exist. Women are so often pressured to accept flaws / not expect too much / not expect much of men. So the bar is just so low. Original poster is not the butthole, by the way. Edit. Thanks for the awards, y'all are sweet. I keep telling people, my standards aren't to find a man. They're to keep them away. Even with my extremely high standards, I have a zillion choices. I've never been worried. Don't lower anything. Thanks. Very glad for you. Laughing out loud, I definitely did not have a zillion choices ever, but I did find my awesome husband about 8 years ago. It's definitely worth it to hold out for the right person. My friends and family have been telling me not to be so picky for years. Why the hell should I settle when I'm deciding to literally spend the rest of my life with a person? Why wouldn't I be picky? I'd rather be alone and picky than married to a person I hate. As I was reading this, I was internally screaming, it's so infuriating. Now I'm anxious that I'm going to find myself pregnant to someone who reveals themselves as an unsupportive butt once it's too late. I just can't fathom how you'd stay with someone like this. Now I'm anxious that I'm going to find myself pregnant to someone who reveals themselves as an unsupportive butt once it's too late. It truly is like a real-life horror story. Everyone I know who I've talked to about this and has a successful relationship / are happy with parenthood is with their partner for at least 3 years before they procreate with them. So I mean, I don't know, people can hide their inner selves for a while, and I'm sure countless relationships have been fine without this little rule, but based on my observations this seems to work quite well. My biggest advice to people, particularly women because they're more likely to end up in such situations, is always had a way to get out of a situation. Don't let yourself get so dependent, financially, emotionally, etc., on someone that you don't have a way out. I have a family member who is a lazy, cheating, self-absorbed He recently got out of 2 relationships that he was in at the same time. Women discovered one another. It was a mess. Anyway, Both of them saw the red flags but kept up their relationships with him, I think in part because they were lonely and didn't think they could do better. I've since talked with both of them, and they both admitted that they saw the red flags but chose to believe his obvious lying instead. Lesson I learned from that is if you see or feel red flags, get the F out. A. I trust my partner completely. I still have enough separate money that if something happened, I'd be okay. It happened to a friend. Her fiancé did something bad enough to dissolve the relationship, but her F-off fund saved her. Edit. Thank you for the awards. This mindset has served me well in my life, and I hope it can help others as well. Web link. It's not unheard of for people to start being abusive when their girlfriend/wife is pregnant, sadly. It's actually well known that abuse escalates when pregnancy is involved. Web link. Seriously. I'm 7 months pregnant myself, and every time one of these birth/labor/pregnancy posts pop up, I'm like, wow, if my husband ever acted like that to me, I would tell him to go to hell. I find it literally impossible to not be fully paranoid about getting pregnant. This sub has really made it clear how many abusers there are, and how many trends there are in their behavior. Obviously we see the worst of the worst here, but holy crap, the sheer number of partners who stomp all over their wives' birthing plans, withhold affection and manipulate their emotions while pregnant and trap them, and my personal favorite, the guys who magically develop IBS out of nowhere and now spend 6 hours a day on the crafter. WHO. Wants this? What is it with the multiple brother-in-law in the delivery room posts lately? Did all the Mills team up and decide to campaign for this? Absolutely not the butthole. This is about who you want in the room to support you. You don't even have to fill those 2 spots if you don't want, or hire a doula. This is about who will remove stress from the situation rather than add it. It's so weird to me. I come from a culture that has a huge stereotype of mama's boys and overbearing mother-in-laws, Indian, and your brother-in-law watching you deliver your baby would be considered so inappropriate and unheard of. This whole brother-in-law in the delivery room is just so odd to me. Not the butthole. Wow. You're pregnant and want your mother in the delivery room, so that you can feel safe and secure. He wants your brother-in-law there, and you should get rid of your mother. Don't allow him to treat you like this. Stand your ground and talk with your family about this. This is not okay. I screamed for mother in labor. I didn't want my husband, sorry, he was trying to be supportive, wasn't his fault, he's not my mother who raised me, loved me, is a nurse, and generally has her head screwed on straight in medical events. That's my mummy. She also brought an esky full of food the next day, so I didn't have to eat hospital food and feed some of the other new mums too. You know what you want, and as the person giving birth, your safety, comfort and happiness take priority over a male tantrum. When he's having the baby, he can pick who is in the room. I had a very quick delivery with my second child, and my parents were still in the car rushing across the state to get to me when I needed to start pushing. I start sobbing for my stepmother, and my midwife frantically called her and put her on speakerphone to talk me through the end. I don't know how I would have done it without her. No one, absolutely no one, gets a say over the mother on who is going to support her in labor. Red flags abound here. Oh, hell, there are still times I want my mom. My mother has been dead for 13 years. I'm sick with a man cold. And I'm a woman, I want my mom right now, so badly. Honestly, allowing him to sub in his mother for his spot is already going above and beyond. This is her private, and likely traumatic, medical event. The most important thing is her being as at ease as possible for a safe and smooth birth. But instead, he's whining that it's no fair that she gets to pick someone, and he doesn't. Bro, this isn't your thing. Once that baby is out, parenthood is 50-50, but all pregnancy/birth related healthcare should, obviously, be 100% focused on the only people involved, the mother and the baby. Not the butthole. The baby is coming out of your body. How will his mom holding his hand help you? Even if he is not there, why should your brother-in-law, a stranger, see your body and see you at your most vulnerable? Your mom is non-negotiable. Your brother-in-law has no right being there whether they let 2 or 10 people in. Don't give in. He is acting like a child and thinks you will fold. Send him a birthing video and say you need your mom more than you need him. Make sure to take a photo of your brother-in-law to show the nurse/reception security at your labor ward so that she does not try to sneak in. Go to the r/justnormal sub and get their advice and support too. Reddit link. The baby is coming out of your baby. I know this is an innocent typo, but yikes. He thinks it's like a movie premiere. If your mom gets tickets, then my mom should get tickets too. He's only thinking of the revealing the brand new baby aspect and not the major traumatic medical event aspect. And he's giving the silent treatment to try to force his way. I can't effing believe this guy. Yep, he is clearly thinking of who gets to be there to watch, not who gets to be there to support mother and baby. He's clearly thinking of this as something to just witness, not be a part of. Priorities are all wrong. At this point, I wouldn't let him in if he already knows he won't be there for original poster. He's going to be a great dad. Shaking my head. Right. I'm surprised no one is addressing the fact that he's not only throwing a tantrum, but he's been Mia for days. Original poster. Why on earth would you want to raise a kid with this guy? Red flags everywhere. And choosing his mom over you, the one giving birth to his kid? Man, this sounds like a bad situation. Leave them both out of the delivery room. I've been in mothers' groups and heard about horrifically unsupportive men. The pregnancy cheaters. The ones who bully their wives about breastfeeding because they don't understand it, or the mother-in-law wants to feed the baby, which is code for takeover. The ones that vanish in a puff of smoke when it comes to helping raise the baby but give nothing but endless grief-free drawn-out divorces. The fact he's mugged off to a friend's and there's not one person sensible enough in his life to give him advice and tell him to pull himself together is beyond a red flag. Yeah, it might be challenging and feel like life is out of control. Trashing his pregnant partner is not the way to go about correcting on that. The fact he's gone for days and using how vulnerable a pregnant person might feel to manipulate her is gross. The fact he's mugged off to a friend's and there's not one person sensible enough in his life to give him advice and tell him to pull himself together is beyond a red flag. Yes, this struck me as well. Who are these trash friends who are presumably rooting him on? Yeah, how dare your wife want to make proper preparations for a medically significant and physically traumatic experience that will permanently alter her body? What a bitch. Not the butthole, and I'd be rethinking keeping him as your partner if his solution to a disagreement is to just run away. How are you going to rely on him as a partner and father if he's disappeared on you? Why the F would you tell your mom to stay home and have his there instead? If he wants her there so badly, he can forfeit his place, and even then you are not obligated to let her be there when you're half naked and pushing a baby out of your vagina. Even if you could have 5 million people there, he doesn't really get to choose who it is until it's his private bits covered in bodily fluid and on display. If you want her there, cool, but it's clear that she can't be, and the fact that he thinks he's so entitled to choose and disregard who you want there that he literally just ghosts you is insane. I'm so angry for you, original poster. Don't accept this behavior from him. Not the butthole. I think some people have a weird misunderstanding about people in the delivery room, and it causes arguments about who gets to be in there. Birth is not a spectator sport, and this isn't about who gets to witness the birth of the child. People in the delivery room are there to support the mother in delivering the baby, so in this scenario your needs are more than important than his, because you are going through what is essentially a major medical event. I've seen so many posts like this lately, and it blows my mind how many of these soon-to-be dads have zero concept of childbirth. How would original poster's husband feel if he was laying half-naked, spread-eagled, pushing something out of his body, and original poster wanted her dad there to watch the event? Info: is brother-in-law pushing for this, or does husband just want her there? Does brother-in-law know she would be bumping your own mother, and she's fine with that? Or does she have no idea any of this is going on? Just trying to figure out her role in this dysfunctional dynamic. If I found out my son was treating his wife this way in an argument about me, I would be at the hospital, with him, in the waiting room of the ER because I whooped his grown butt into the dirt. Original poster replies: my brother-in-law is actually a sweet lady, but I don't know for sure if she even knows. If she's sweet, go straight to her and tell her what your plan is. A reasonable woman would be 100% supportive. Also tell her about your husband walking out on you over this, get her to sort out her tantrum-throwing man toddler. You don't need that stress right now. Original poster replies, I will, I'll ask if she knows about the situation. Thanks. If she doesn't even know about this, that would definitely be sus of your husband. Do you know which friend's house he is at? Just asking because pregnancy is when some men start cheating. Has he ever shown any mama's boy behavior before this? Edit. Yes, seems like he is purposefully picking a fight, so he can have an excuse to disappear. Info. Why does your husband believe having his mother there is not important than having your mother there? Not the butthole. From what I read, it sounds like you're okay with your mother-in-law. Maybe call her and have a conversation about it. Could be, if she were a normal, understanding human, she wouldn't want to step on toes and be in the room for the birth, especially if it meant her son couldn't be there. But also I do agree with others are saying about hubby. Disappeared for 2 days with pregnant wife at home? Nothing healthy about his behavior. Original poster replies, she a very nice lady from the times we've talked, which usually isn't often. I will tell her and ask if she agreed to any of this. Thanks. Not the butthole. Where the F is your husband? I would make a welfare check on him. Seriously. By the way, you are the one deciding who is with you. You are the one calling the shots. Please. I don't even care about the rest of the post. I do. And you're completely not the butthole. Birth is not a spectator sport, but that's completely dwarfed by the fact you're 6 months pregnant, and Hess not answering your calls. What would be happening if you went into early labor? His kid could have been a day/multiple days old before he would even know. It's one thing to run and pout when he doesn't get his way, it's a whole other thing to go completely off the grid without being reachable when your wife is medically vulnerable. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.